Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. And if you are new, click that little subscribe button down below and the little notification bell right beside it to be notified every time I upload a new video. Today I'm going to be sitting down and doing a story time for you guys of my labor and delivery. A few people have asked me to do this because a lot of people have heard from my mom's point of view and saw the video she uploaded on Facebook, but I haven't actually sat down and talked about it and talked about my experience and my point of view and what it was like for me. So that's what I'm going to do today. Back in September of 2017, I should originally start with I was due October 24th. My original due date was October 24th, but Grayson had other plans. So in September of 2017, I went for my 36-week appointment on September 26th. It was a Tuesday. And if you know what it's like to go to one of those prenatal appointments, you know that you get your belly measured, you get the fetal Doppler to hear the heartbeat. So I go in on the 26th like it's any other appointment. They send me back to the nurse's station to pee in the cup. I go back to the front, they call my name shortly after, and I go into the room. And she lays me down on the table and she wants to measure my belly first. So she measures my belly and she kind of has this weird look on her face. So I looked at her and I was like, well, what's wrong? Like, what's that look for? And she was like, I don't want to alarm you, but your baby's not growing as much as we'd like. He's not at the size that he should be since his last appointment. And my last appointment before that was 2 weeks beforehand. So in 2 weeks, he wasn't growing as much as they hoped that he would. They sent me in for an emergency ultrasound just to make sure everything was okay. So they sent me in that noon. They did the ultrasound, everything. They sent the information back to my doctor, and not even an hour later, I get a call back from my doctor saying that my baby's amniotic fluid was low, was not as much fluid as they would have liked. That's why my belly wasn't as big near the end of my pregnancy. Like, I was 8 months pregnant looking like I was 5'6" because my belly was so small. And I started freaking out and everything, and she's like, hey, we want to induce you. Because of the state that he was in and because he didn't have much fluid surrounding him, he was extremely dry. He was smaller than the average baby should have been at 36 weeks, and they figured it'd be safer to deliver him now than to wait another week and something might happen. Like, he wasn't getting enough nutrients, like my placenta wasn't delivering enough nutrients to him apparently, so that's as well of the reason why he wasn't as big as he should have been. So I go back in later. This is when the story gets interesting, and this is where, needless to say, I thought I was gonna die that night. So I go back in at 8 o'clock that night to be induced. I go into the hospital, they lay me down. I didn't get Pitocin or anything like that because they wanted me to be able to labor at home. So I get home from the hospital. I'm not feeling anything yet. Me and my boyfriend are just relaxing. Nothing's happened yet. I'm not feeling anything yet. And around 11 o'clock at night, I start to get some cramping, like period cramping, but it's a bit worse than your normal typical period cramps. I'm like, okay, this is starting now. This is starting. So anyways, 11 o'clock rolls around. I start to feel it and everything. And as time goes on, it gets so intense. Like, I'm sitting there rocking back and forth with my eyes closed, just praying that I would just get a break of no pain. And they were coming so frequently that around 3:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't handle the pain anymore. Like, I just couldn't handle anymore. I woke up my boyfriend, I got my mom up, and we went to the hospital. Now, we get to the hospital and they tell me I am only 1 centimeter dilated and 95% effaced. They hook me up to the machine, they're monitoring my contractions, and I'm sitting there in agonizing pain, and I'm like, I'm crying because I'm in so much pain, and they're just telling me, breathe, just focus on one point in the ceiling and just don't take your eyes off of it until the pain's over. And that does help somewhat. They ended up giving me a shot of morphine in my butt, and they sent me home. They sent me home. I really wish they wouldn't have done this, because then what happened next would not have happened. We could have completely avoided this. And we get home around 4, quarter after 4, and the morphine's slowly starting to kick in, but I'm not really feeling much. Like, it kind of helps calm my nerves a bit, but it doesn't really help with the pain. So 4:30, 20 to 5, and I started to have a lot of pressure. Like, it felt like I had to poop. So I go to the bathroom thinking I have to poop. I'm sitting there, there's nothing coming out. So I know that this feeling isn't normal. I put my hand down there and I felt the head. My heart literally sank. Screamed to my boyfriend Zach, I'm like, I feel the head, like he's coming. So my boyfriend runs down to my mom's room, wakes her up, and in high school I was known to be a bit melodramatic and overdramatic, and I would over-dramatize everything. So my mom thought I was just being overdramatic, that I couldn't handle the pain. So she takes her time coming down to the bathroom, and like I'm at this point, I'm freaking out, like I don't know what to do. I feel my baby's head down there. Zach's freaking out. He doesn't know what to do. So my mom's like, okay, Zach, put your hand down there. Like, obviously that's not weird because, well, how is a baby made to begin with? He puts his hand down, he checks for himself because nobody believes me at this point that his head is there. So he puts his hand down, he's like, oh yeah, the head is there, the baby's coming. So my mom instantly believed me. She's like, hey Larissa, get on the floor, like you gotta lay on the floor, like you're gonna give birth in the toilet if you don't get on the floor. So I instantly get off the toilet, I lay on the floor, my mom starts calling 911. Everybody's freaking out. Get water, get towels, get scissors, because they swore they were going to be delivering the baby themselves by how fast he was coming out. So they call 911. The paramedics take what feels like an eternity. What was like 5-6 minutes felt like an eternity. And in that time, I'm sitting there screaming blue bloody murder. And during this entire time, the paramedics are telling my mom, tell her don't push, like she cannot push, like don't push until we get there. And she's telling me don't push, and I'm sitting there like, how do you tell me not to push? My body's pushing for me. Like my body was pushing for me at that point. Like paramedics finally show up after what feels like an eternity. And they're taking their sweet ass time getting the stretcher, getting all the medical supplies. Like, and my mom's like standing outside, like, you guys gotta come. She's giving birth right now. The baby's coming right now. And they're like, oh no, she's fine. She's not giving birth right now. We have time. And my mom's like, no, you guys don't got time. Like, she's giving birth right now. The baby's coming out right now. So they finally get inside and they hear me just screaming. And she's like, hey, I need you to give me one good push. So I pushed as hard as I could. And it was like this big relief over my body. It was like a wave of just, I can't even describe the feeling. It was just the best feeling ever because the head came out. The minute that head comes out, it's like the biggest wave of relief over your body because you're already in so much pain and you just want it to be over, and you just want to hold this baby in your arms that you've been carrying for 9 months. I will never forget that feeling of just relief after going through 6 hours, exactly 6 hours and 15 minutes of labor. I literally only pushed for 6 minutes and I was blown away. I couldn't believe I pushed him out that easily and that fast. So after Grayson's born, they get him out, they kind of clean him off and they put him on my chest, and I will never forget that feeling. Like, that is literally the best feeling in the world, feeling your child for the first time, touching them and smelling them and kissing them and telling them how much you love them. As much as a lot of like my labor and birth, it was like, I do remember it, or else I wouldn't be sitting here filming a story time, but a lot of parts are really fuzzy and I don't really remember them much because they're like blurry in my head. But I remember the main parts, and the number one main part for me was the minute they put him on my chest. I will never be able to get that feeling out of my head. I'll remember that feeling till the day I die, I swear. So they get us into a wheelchair, so then that way or not a wheelchair, it was like some type of like chair to put you in. They strap you in so then that way they can get you downstairs. I couldn't walk, I was still pretty sore, or like obviously after giving birth you're bleeding a lot, so obviously they had to get me down somehow, and then they put me into the stretcher. Like, I still have baby, they put him in like this, like, not really tin foil, but it looks like tin foil, but it's like this, almost like it's like a heating blanket to keep him warm. They get us into the ambulance. My boyfriend didn't come with us because he is very queasy when it comes to bodily functions, and especially blood. Like, he does not do good with blood, and as you know, with giving birth, there's a lot of blood and there's blood clots. The minute after Grayson was born and everything was good and he knew things were good, he just went completely white and he just started throwing up. And the last thing I remember saying to him is, I love you. And like the last thing I remember hearing is, I love you too. And he just continues throwing up. And so my son was born at 5:15 a.m. on September 27th. My family didn't end up getting to the hospital that morning till about 7 o'clock, because after they finished cleaning up the bathroom, because I gave birth in the bathroom, nobody showed up to the hospital till about 7:30 in the morning, because like after they cleaned up and everything and Zach was good, they went over to my grandparents' place and they woke them up, and oh my god, they were so excited. So they have coffee, breakfast, everything like that, and then everybody finally comes down to the hospital to see Grayson and actually see him all cleaned up and in his outfit. And I'm gonna insert some photos here that my mom took of like right after Grayson was born, like on the bathroom floor. And then I'll insert the very first photo ever that we ever took of him. And then I'll add in another photo of right now, just so you guys can compare to see like how big he's gotten. He was born at 4 pounds 4 ounces, and every baby after birth loses 10% of their body fat. It's just a natural thing. Every baby does it. So he dropped from 4'4" to 3'11". And like the doctor, like my doctor wasn't worried because everything was perfectly fine with him. There was no issues with him. Like he didn't have any respiratory issues. He ate perfectly fine. And all the nurses, they wanted us to go to the NICU in Edmonton, because I live in Alberta, Canada, if nobody already knew that. And the closest like children's hospital is in Edmonton, which is like almost 2 hours away from me. They wanted us to go all the way there because a lot of the nurses with premature babies in small towns, it's sad, but it's true, but not a lot of nurses are trained to resuscitate a premature baby. So say if something happened to Grayson, he stopped breathing for whatever reason, they're not properly trained to resuscitate a premature baby. They were pushing for us to go to the NICU in Edmonton. And I am so glad that we didn't end up going, because there was no way I could have been away from my boyfriend and my family for 8 days, because that's how long we ended up staying in the hospital for after he was born, was 8 long, miserable but well worth it days. Zach's family is from the city, so obviously I would have had his family come and visit me. But like anybody who's had a baby, you just want your own mom there. Like, it's no offense to his mom or his family, but like when you're that emotional and your emotions are going from this to this because you just gave birth and you're just adrenaline's all over the place because you just had a crazy at-home birth experience, you just typically want your mom. So in the end, I was so happy we did not have to go to the NICU. My doctor did not believe that we needed to go to the NICU. They believed they had it 100% handled. He just needed to gain weight. And because he dropped to 3'11", they just wanted him to get back up to his birth weight of 4'4" before they would send us home. So finally, on the 8th day, I looked at that screen and saw 4 pounds 4 ounces. I was so happy. I looked at my boyfriend and I jumped up and down and I screamed and we hugged each other. And I was like, we can go home. We can finally go home. Like, I was just so happy. I hated it so much. I had numerous mental breakdowns and emotional breakdowns, like, because I would be promised that, okay, tomorrow you guys are gonna get to go home, and I'd get so excited and I'd pack everything up, and then in the morning we get told that no, you have to stay another day, and it's the most disheartening thing ever. I remember one day I just completely broke down crying. Like, I couldn't stop crying. I was just so upset. I just wanted to go home. My emotions were all over the place. I just wanted to be in the comfort of my own home with my newborn baby and just get into a routine of things. But it was just so hard being told all the time, no, you're not going home. But in the end, we got to go home on October 2nd, 3rd. I want to say 3rd. I'm not 100% sure because it's like midnight when I'm recording this video right now. I have tried to record this video numerous times today. My son is very grumpy because of teething, so this is the last chance I've had to finally sit down and get this video done. I would bring him out for you guys to meet him, as I haven't bringing him out in any of my previous videos, but as I said, it's midnight, so he's in bed. So maybe next video or the next video I talk about baby related stuff or anything like that, I'll bring him on for you guys to see and meet him. So that's everything for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that story time of my labor and delivery. It was a pretty crazy one, I'm not gonna lie. At some points I literally thought I was gonna die or my son was gonna die, because when you don't plan to give birth at home, that's scary shit, man. I will have all my social medias linked up here on the screen. somewhere on here. If you guys have any suggestions for future videos, let me know in the comments down below. I do read your guys' comments and I reply to every single one and I heart them. So that's everything for today. I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope you guys have a great day, night, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you guys. I am gonna go take all this stuff off my face now and just go relax and spend time with my boyfriend. Bye, y'all.